everyone! Today I thought I'd take a page out of old FCC Commissioner Ajit Pai's playbook by talking about something that people hold near and dear to their hearts, and then I'm just gonna rip it to shit! Oh, and I'm also joined by fellow YouTuber Nathaniel Bandy, so say hi to the folks at home, Nathaniel.
Hi, folks at home!
Shit. So I would just like to preface all the rioting and the pitchforks by first saying that I love Super Mario Kart. Like, a lot. Like, maybe even almost as much as I love Mango Hot Wings.
Oh, it's good.
It was my first kart racing game ever, and damn it, I won't give that up. So it's with that love that I thought it would be fun to talk about its flaws, because bend me over and slap my rump, there's a lot to mention. Now, let's start by saying yes. I know this is the first in the franchise. I know there were a lot of things that had to be established. I get that they're gonna have problems with the game. I'm just here to have some fun, and I would like to also say that this game hasn't exactly aged that well. It's not John Stamos, so take with that what you will. Super Mario Kart released to both critical and commercial success in 1992 for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Now, for it being the first in a series, there is a lot of fun to be had here. I really love the minimalistic course layouts compared to what we have nowadays. There's something to be said for being able to just churn through races really quickly and get to the next locale, and since this was the first Mario Kart, there's no frills here. It's clean racing. There's not a whole lot of items. It's not exactly the cleanest. Like, it's more like whenever you pick up the junk in your room, but you don't actually dust or vacuum. Like, it's tidied. Yeah, it's a little bit like that. So instead of you worrying about drift boost and shuffling through different items and drafting and gliding and doing tricks at the right time, all you have to think about is just staying on this narrow courseway and hoping to God that you don't go off, because you're just screwed at that point.
But that's it. It's pretty bare bones. Again, we do understand the argument that's to be made here. The game did come out in 1992, but that doesn't excuse it for being sloppy and underwhelming. Let's explain what we're talking about, though. Turning isn't tight, it's slippery, you go all over the place, and my god is it sensitive.
I'd even say it's about as sensitive as a mom who's going through menopause.
Was that necessary?
No. Another thing that has spoiled some of the racing for us is this ridiculous split screen view. Like, what? I don't get this artistic choice. Like, as an option, it would have been cool. It would have been pretty killer as it did something interesting by combining two different viewpoints into one, but essentially killing off an entire half of the screen for this pointless map that it really isn't all that useful. Like, no thanks. Now, these courses aren't exactly the most interesting, so the game kind of gets away with this, but I can only imagine how much cleaner and how much better the game would have looked overall by having a full screen view that displayed more of the track, or you would have maybe gotten more detailed tracks because of this. I know some of you are probably thinking that, like, this is such a small thing to complain about, but damn it, I care.
100% agree with you on that one there. There are times where it's incredibly hard to focus on the action at hand because of how small the field of view is at the top. It does affect aiming shells or placing items at times. And speaking of difficulty, let's talk about that rubber banding, shall we?
So if you're unaware what rubber banding is, let me explain. It's basically whenever the second player catches back up to you in the most ridiculous and unrealistic way possible. Like, you hit them, and then they fall back in 4 or 5 places, and then they slowly get back up to you. So it's kind of like when you stretch a rubber band out, the two ends have to come back together sometime. Yeah, that's my best way to explain it. Look at this little guy. Look at this little dude blazing back up to me. This is probably my biggest annoyance with the single player. Like, it's borderline hilarious just how bad and unacceptable this is, and yet I'm sort of mesmerized by it. Like, it's so bad. It's like watching a couple strangers get into a little tiff at the mall, but I don't want to look away. There's just absolutely no reason for this to be in the game other than creating some sort of artificial difficulty, or the fact that the programmers couldn't get around some type of bug or glitch in the game. But the main problem with this type of game design in racing games, it's just not rewarding. Like, you feel like you're fighting to keep first place, and if you finally work your way into that first place and you finally earn that spot, don't worry, the game's gonna send the racer in second place charging right back at you, and that's just annoying. But then let's turn it around to if you're the one trying to catch back up. Because if you thought you're going to get any help from the items, think again, friend. Trying to aim a green shell in this game is like trying to get out of a Walmart parking lot without cutting your sack off.
Or how about the feather? I feel like this is only good for a very small amount of very specific places and courses, and it really doesn't seem to help you much in the long run. It's probably why they only brought it back for battle mode in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which actually was a good decision now that I think about it. Oh, and did I mention coins? You're gonna get a lot of those.
I feel like we've been a tad hard on this game, though. I mean, like, it's got some flaws. Like, don't get me wrong, it's got flaws, but there's a lot of good to love here. But we haven't even talked about the worst thing in this game, which is the drifting.
Okay.
No. What is this? I'm pretty sure most of the courses can be done without this. Like, whatever this is. I mean, it's completely unreliable. Like, it's probably the hardest drifting out of any Mario Kart game to even remotely get used to. Like, I don't think it would be as big of a deal if it was more accurate, but you whip around the course like you just looped up a slip and slide and just dove right in. But again, what makes it so worse is it's really not that helpful. Like, there are so many courses that I don't have to use this on. Like, I try to use the drifting. Like, I try to incorporate that mechanic so I feel like I'm really using all the mechanics in this game, but I don't need to. Like, I'm still fine without using it.
This game is a perfect example of this franchise needing to fail at some things before it could go on to be the bombshell of a racer that it really is. It took a lot of balancing and tweaking to get Mario Kart to where it is nowadays, and honestly, we have Super Mario Kart to thank for this. It pioneered a lot in the karting genre, and I think we can at least respect it for that.
I mean, I gotta say, it did actually do quite a bit. Like, I know we've been hard on it, but I mean, if it didn't exist, you know, we might not have Diddy Kong Racing and Crash Team Racing, or even the likes of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe nowadays. Like, these games might not have truly been as awesome as they were if Super Mario Kart didn't exist, so I'm happy it's there. I have a soft spot in my heart for it because of nostalgia, and it is still a fun time even to this day. But let's just say, it's not my first choice whenever I'm picking up a multiplayer game, but I wouldn't just throw it out the window either and not even consider it. No, that award goes to Frogger on the Super Nintendo.
Go watch the Trigger video. It's really good. Jacob's in it. Okay, bye.